To week 4 of the Stride eSports League. My name's Wes Rambo, and this time I'm joined by Cute Noob here for week number 4. We're going to have 2 games of Valorant for you on this lovely Friday evening. And in the middle of that, we're going to have a little coaching session. But before we get to that, Cute Noob, welcome to the stream. How you doing?
Hey, I am so excited to be here. This is going to be our first cast together, and I'm really excited. We were looking forward to casting Suni, and fate wasn't meant to be, but now we meet again, and here we are, and I'm expecting some really, really fun Valorant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the anticipation's been building ever since Cute Noob and I were so ready to go on that Suni cast. But we're here for Stride and we're here for Valorant. So let's take a look first of all at our weekly schedule, just so you can see how everything is shaping up for the Stride Esports League. Monday, of course, League of Legends. Tuesday, we got chess. Wednesday, Fortnite. Thursday, Rocket League. And Friday, you're home, everybody. It's Valorant. And for today, we have a couple of best of ones as always. First of all, we've got a couple of teams that are not as familiar to me, actually, but very excited to see them, and a couple of teams where their records definitely are back and forth. We've got Ohio Virtual versus South Carolina Virtual. So Ohio is on a 0. I'm just taking a look at them now, and yeah, they've got... Here we go. A couple wins, couple losses under their belt. So both of these teams just sort of going even right now. But yeah, as you can see the schedule for today as well on your screen, it's 5 p.m. right now. And we are going to be going to a coaching with Best Student GG. Last time Best Student GG was talking about duelists, and I'm very excited to see what they have in store for us today. But after that, we are going over to another game, and this is going to be, we're going to be seeing Texas back on screen, but this time they're taking on Washington.
Ooh, I'm excited. I have nothing to add on to that. All of the information is going to be coming on from Rambo. I'm here to talk about the action that's going play by play. So I'm going to let my man Rambo here do most of the deep diving for you guys. But regardless, I'm excited. The one little side thing I could add to this is that South Carolina, they're called like the Cyber Academy, and the fact that one of their pictures is a cipher lets me know that I'm about to see some really crazy lineups.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Cyber Academy definitely maybe getting that big brain into the game. And yeah, very excited to see that. We do soon have the pick bands coming through onto our screen, but we can talk a little bit about Ohio, because I did see Karmizma in the Stride Combine a couple of weeks ago. That was that tournament that we had where we brought kind of an all-star grouping from a bunch of these different teams coming through. Karmizma really stood out even among the best of the Stride Esports League. So definitely one to watch for Ohio as we kind of get into this. We got a pick bands are going to be coming through pretty soon, but yeah, I'm loving this. We got a great energy right now here in the lobby chat, Cute Noob, and we got a great energy coming through from both of these teams. Everyone's very excited to go, and it's kind of always seems to be the case, you know, like you said. I'm very happy that you're here, because I'm very happy to, you know, bring more broadcast people into the fold and get them, you know, get them their finger on the pulse of this Stride Esports League, because it really is, you know, Cute Noob, it really is great to see these high school tournaments and these kids who are coming through to get their first taste of competitive play, and who knows how far that could go.
Yeah, and I could only wish that I was playing Valorant in high school, or any game at that. You know, I wasn't that spoiled. But we didn't get to talk to you guys too much about the picks and bans, but the map that we are going to be heading into is going to be Ascent. This was chosen, or this was a leftover map, actually. So neither one of these teams decided it. Everyone got to pick and ban. But on the defense, we're going to have the Cyber Academy of South Carolina. On the attack, we're going to have the Ohio Academy, which right already off the bat, how are you feeling about these agent selections?
Yeah, no surprise here for Karmizma, an absolute star player, definitely in his blood, and the Reyna is a perfect pick when it comes to that. They want those kills coming out of Karmizma, and starting up on the attacking side is going to be really great. I also like to see Omen on both sides. I think Omen definitely is the premier controller on Ascent right now, in particular because of all those different places you can use that paranoia. But after that, we do start to get a little bit of divergence here between these two teams. You see the Sova over for Ohio. You do see, though, the KO, also an exceptional initiator and a premier agent over on Ascent for the defense. So we're going to see how those two initiators match up.
I am super duper disappointed at Cyber Academy. They went for a KJ instead of the Cypher. Nani, what is this? Absolutely baited, honestly.
Yeah.
Totally baited. I'm disappointed.
If there's any, if there's any agent who's, embodies big brain, I think that Killjoy might be the one. She's always, she certainly has a high opinion of her intelligence, based on her voice lines. But we'll see if that same thing holds true for King Prime, who's going to be playing her over on the side of South Carolina. But we do start with Ohio on the attacking side, and they do head over towards this A site, 5 players strong.
Yeah, this is a interesting interesting, but also very aggressive and common kind of hit. We do see this Soba recon dart, which, ooh, look at that. Gave away so much positioning. It was a push out by Game Racer, but got eliminated right off the bat. And as you talked about, Charisma being the tip of the spear, getting their way onto the site and getting that first elimination as well onto the board for the side of Ohio, who now just need to wait time out and hold this post plant.
Yeah, just like that. They're on site. They're in a huge setup. They've got 2 players down. King Prime also in a lot of danger. One little shoulder peeking out. There's Karmizma with a 3rd cute noob. And yeah, he is definitely, proving me right in this round. That's a 4th kill for Karmizma, and only Mentor Men remaining. They want to give Karmizma this ace, cute noob. 1, 2, 3. There it is. 5 kills for the first round. What a statement for the Reyna.
Wow. I don't think you're disappointed. I can tell you're very proud of yourself based on that comms. And I mean, what a way to start here if you're Ohio State. What was their record, if you recall?
I'm just going to take a look at it now because it was just a little bit of a, I'm looking at the wrong team here. Just a moment. Hold up on that. Oh, they are 2-1 in this season so far. One of those appears to could have been a bye, but in any case, they've got, oh no, that's my mistake. They actually are winless so far in this from what I'm seeing, unless if production wants to correct me on that, but I believe Ohio has not gotten a game yet, so we'll see if Karmizma can carry them to a victory, or if the rest of their players are able to do that, as Karmizma goes in hard.
Yeah, that was 2K looking for that 3K as Viper just jiggles their way out of the smoke, but no, you ain't getting away today. Empress in the back pocket does not need it. Ghost is what is hitting every single shot, and Charisma, talk about that Riz being in the hands. That's almost on the 2nd ace here to start off the bat.
Unreal from Karmizma, and what else do we even say in terms of analyzing what's happening in these rounds? It's just the Reyna running in, killing everybody. They now are going to be up against guns, though, cute noob, and so that might be the thing that slows them down a little bit, because Karmizma on that Stinger, while obviously he's still going to be deadly, might struggle a bit in those long-range engagements. We will see, because I like the way they've been using the Sova, and you mentioned it in round number 1. Karmizma definitely playing off of that recon dart, but heading over to B for the first time and actually going to take control of mid as well.
This mid positioning is safe for the time being for Meisterman, who try to get away and does for the time being, gets 1 for the troubles, but it is Charisma who gets the trade off the bat. This B push now is getting a little bit pushed back here from that KJ, who holds onto the site for the time being. Although the spike still remaining mid gets knocked down, at least this is a little bit of some time consumption here for the side of Cyber Academy, as they try to remain put onto that B site, but no, Charisma enters the way by eliminating King Prime. Now the spike gets onto the site, and they are going to be able to hold on and remain with that player advantage.
I liked what South Carolina was doing there. They really did give up mid and then crunched in on their opponents, got themselves into an advantageous position, but unfortunately did give up a couple of kills and now have access to the site. 3 versus 2 situation here as Thicky Giorno and Baze Original, some great names coming through in this league, are going to be tasked with the retake, and they just have so little available to them right now. A couple of smokes coming through, but Thicky Giorno doesn't have much else besides that as they go forward, and Karmizma has it.
I want to know what AIM Labs routine Charisma did before this, because, oh my, that crosshair placement is just so immaculate. And this is the 2nd 4K for Charisma. The first was an ace.
Yeah, that's 13 kills in 3 rounds. We are not talking about a normal player here. Like, this is just devastation from Karmizma right now. And they've got to figure out an answer to it because, you know, they had an idea that should have worked in that last round, Cutenu, where they gave up mid control, very common on Ascent, very smart thing to do for the defenders if you know what to do from it. Vicky Giorno then comes in from A and does grab the pick onto one of those players. They get themselves in a 4 versus 3, but they're not able to get anything else. But there we go. Vicky Giorno finally unseats the beast, and they are in a 5 versus 4 with the star player gone from Ohio.
This is good. Still, though, remaining is going to be that weapon deficiency. As you see, most of Ohio's team is huddled over onto this mid positioning. But still remaining over onto that tree is going to be that deadly Vicky Giorno, as we talked about before. Pops that first shot, just for warning. Now looking for the second. Again, just legs. Cypher tries to hit the second. Unfortunately, does not go their way. Now the bomb has officially made their way onto the site. Game Racer tries to keep Pippin over onto tree. And now the retake is going to be oh so much difficult with that Sage Wall creating that barrier.
Yeah, and they're a little bit further away, the defenders, from coming in on this retake. You see King Prime does spot one out, so they know Pippin's position, but will King Prime be able to close in properly, or will they respond? Mentorman's miles away still, trying to get this retake down, and they don't have a lot of time here, Cute Noob.
They do not, and with Pippin getting that a kill over onto Bay's original, makes it that much harder to get on to the site. They did break away that barrier, so they were able to eliminate one off the pick, but it is now a 2v2. The time is ticking. There's not enough time. They must go, and Sklu is so good on eliminating that tree push. Oh, the spam coming in here from Mentorman. Just a little bit of fear, as you can tell, in that crosshair, and unfortunately, it does not go the way of Cyber or South Carolina here. As hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you were absolutely right.
Yeah.
South Carolina attempting the retake there, and you could see Mentorman kind of making a ring around the rosy play as he went completely away through the attacker spawn and back around to tiles while that spike was ticking down. So maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there. Mentorman looking like he wanted to maybe save while the other two, Game Race and King Prime, going in for the retake. But this time they are going to be running into that Killjoy utility, and that hasn't been something King Prime has been able to make a lot of use of just yet. The money's been low, but now we have as close to a full gun round as we've gotten. And look at Mentorman coming out, still a little bit off on that spray, but does get a little bit of damage and a lot of info.
Yeah, this is a good place to be, and let's talk about the courage that is being displayed here by South Carolina by trying to hit a site that you know is KJ's domain. You know that if you go into B site, you're gonna get hit with everything, and they are not afraid whatsoever. Mollies were popped, and King Prime unfortunately goes down into stairway. Now the site is fully in control, but Vicky Giorno says, I have a dream. I'm trying to make this work for my squad, and does manage to eliminate the Sin Gloop off of this map. Second, though, coming in is going to be Mentorman, who try to do a little sneaky lurk around. Bay's original, try to get Pippin off of this Log's control. But unfortunately, the aim just was a little bit off there. Time being, though, now it's down to just two defenders trying to make things happen as Vicky Giorno finds the third, looking for more, potentially even an ace. Does have that Blade Storm in the back pocket if things don't exactly go their way. Decides to take them out for a drive, nice and early. Tries to find one, the flash comes through, and that is going to be an ace. Vicky Giorno finds the first point for the squad.
Oh,
wait,
and it was so close. 0.45 seconds on the defuse, and Vicky Giorno with an absolutely heroic play, but dies as a martyr in the end. What a showing from the duelist, answering back against Karmizma, showing that skill, but still not able to get it. It just took a little bit too long, Cute Noob, and man, what a try there. 0.45 seconds left. Unreal scenes here on Ascent so far. Even with a 5-0 scoreline, it's amazing how much drama is in this game.
I know. I 1000% believe that it was going to be the first point. I called it out. You guys heard it. I was like, that's the first point.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that was not the way of the land, at least that time being. Now, back again to the original plan here for South Carolina. This A site has been so fruitful but it has not been in the hands of Tiki Giorno, now being one watching over this site. Does eliminate the Sova, so no recon bolts, no shock bolts to be added onto the mix, or so I thought, as Yor brings back the Sova, says, hey, you shall not die, you shall remain in this battle. A flash to try to pause that plant, but still the plant goes through. Game Racer had a dream, had a hope, but the whole rest of the team is now scrambling to try to retake this site. With so little time and only 2 remaining, this is looking like South Carolina's trying to secure that 6 point.
Yeah, and at this point, really, the correct play is to save those guns, although, you know, these players definitely wanting to show what they're made of, wanting to go for those risky plays, and I do love to see it, but it looks like in the end, they do decide it is better to keep those guns alive, maybe go for some exits. They've got a couple of powerful rifles in their hands. Would be great to save those, unless if Karmizma wants to hunt. Doesn't look like he does, though. But yeah, these explosive attacks coming through from Ohio are just so potent here, and it's not just Karmizma. Obviously, Karmizma is the one on the scoreboard that you see the most, but I love Sinclu coming through with some excellent and use of that Omen, which we talked about before. So good with the paranoia on this map, and the playing off, having no actual flashes from initiators, but rather just having Sova as your initiator. I love the way they're adapting to that.
Yeah, I want to give lots of kudos also over to Pippin, who is playing the initiator role to the T, is getting the information, but also going in as opposed to having the Reyna, because as we know, Charisma is the one getting the frags. So to make sure that Charisma isn't going down as early as they had in the, like, I think, there was one round where Charisma was like, oh, I'm just going to peek. And then they went down and things kind of went a little bit scary for the side of South Carolina. Instead, being the one to peek out is the best choice. A Lear to get them onto the site, though, is going to pay off here. Now the KJ has repositioned over onto the B. Now splitting the push of this South Carolina. This could be money here for Ohio if they play their cards right. Beautiful lockdown to make sure that they do not get onto the site. And as you can see, the rotation is already coming through for Ohio as they send 2 over onto Cat, that being the Flasher and the Duelist, not just any Duelist, Tiki Giorno, who has been hitting insane shots.
Tiki Giorno peeks out, realizes who he's up against, and decides to play with his teammates instead. Beautiful defense from King Prime, though. Playing around the generator, buying time, even got a kill with the turret. But it is going to be the From the Shadows. Sinclu is already on the site, but Game Race is ready, and they might be able to grab this defuse if they go really quickly. There's Minty Gamer, will have to run right through this, and no, instead it's Yor to try to stop the defuse. Didn't even get it half, cute noob. And so now we do see nobody on site. A weird retake if I've ever seen one, but Karmizma might be the linchpin here in mid.
Yeah, this was once upon a time a so shining moment for Ohio State, but it was that really quick reaction of Sinclu to go over onto the B teleport plant, and then you saw how quickly South Carolina rotated over, and unfortunately there for was it Game Eraser, that the rest of the squad of Ohio was not there to back them up.
Yeah, and it's a tough decision because when you're thinking about being in Game Race's position, you might say, oh, counting my lucky stars right now, I've got this kill, and Omen just used the ult, so they might be miles away. But unfortunately for Game Race, they were just a little bit too close, and so Game Race not able to grab that defuse with potentially the best chance yet for South Carolina to find a round. You can see, though, mostly rifles still picked up. Tiki Giorno going on to that Marshall and has been deadly with it already. Those headshots are landing. So we'll see the battle of the 2 duelists, top fraggers, continues, but everybody else is making their mark on this game as well. And speaking of making their mark, there isn't much of a presence on the A site. So if Ohio would decide to go there, they might not be encountering that much resistance, but instead they play it slow. And I like to see this. It's something that you see as games go on a little bit longer in this league. Teams start to slow things down a little bit, reconsider their options, play some defaults, play some rotation plays, and it really ends up paying off a lot of the time. For Ohio, looks like they will still go back towards that A site, towards that A hit, and try to get themselves control of mid once again, which is being given up. But Karmizma is lurking.
Oh, this is going to be oh so awful, but it's going to be the turret connection that does indeed give away the information to Ohio. That B site is it. The wall off to CT. Now there's only one left on site. What can King Prime do here at the moment? Peeks away, but there's 3 of South Carolina already looking about. What a scary sight to see. The bomb is going to be planted, but the flank here from Charisma says, yo, this is my field day. I get to go and collect whatever I want. Game Racer tries to make things happen with that null command being activated onto the CT to try to get them onto the site, but they're not worrying about Charisma. They're allowing Charisma to be in the back door of their house, and this is going to be oh so bad. Mentorman might have a good flank though with Charisma. No, the timing is just a tad bit off, and why not throw the neural theft onto the mix as well? Wow. It's South Carolina's world, and we're all just living in it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Karmizma's world for Ohio. 20 kills in 8 rounds, Cute Noob. That is just absurd from this Reyna player. And you could see a liked game race, waiting with that null command, but a few too many players had fallen, and Mentorman just hadn't quite gotten into position. You could see Mentorman was considering that from the shadows over from that A site, and he had been left alone on that A site. So, no surprise he was the last to rotate over, but then by the time he was going to go for it, it just wasn't going to be enough. Game Race hides underneath this, or goes underneath the paranoia here, but it is going to be found by the recon dart. And so now the jig is up for that shotgun player as the flashes come through. Game Race, will he stay?
Oh my, I am a sucker for Bucky shots. Unfortunately, that Bucky shot went over onto the Lear, and Charisma swung with that warning. Now getting onto the site, they close the door, and Thicky Giorno was thinking, should I go in there, should I not? Instead, breaks the door, but the rest of the squad is getting caught out with their hands up in the air. You're with the sneaky Sage Wall says, I see all and I shall remain. Thicky Giorno trying to get onto the site, does get rewarded with the Cypher main, and they know exactly where, and this is looking like the first point for the defenders. The Bucky was the initial warning shot. The rest was all down to Thicky Giorno and the squad. Ohio is on the board, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and they weren't able to get the spike down in time, even though Game Race with that shotgun, with that Bucky on the corner, didn't manage to get any kills. Still, the delay from King Prime and Game Race working together on that crossfire allowed Thicky Giorno and the rest of the A defenders time to rotate back and grab those kills, make sure that they were watching that cross, and the spike never even went down. So excellent work there. A well-deserved round from Carroll of South Carolina, and they are going to hopefully be able to stop the momentum a little bit of Ohio and try to continue with their rounds being won, because 8-4 half, no problem with that. That is not insurmountable by a long shot, Cute Noob.
No, it's pretty good. It's as good as can be, especially being that you are just warming up. Now, the fearful thing here going forward for the side of South Carolina is the fact that Thicky Giorno, they've decided to bring out an operator, and we have seen Thicky Giorno with the Marshall. Yeah. Am that much worried about that operator in hand. Broke the wall. Bay's original played Charisma to the T with the bait, with the help of the bait of KJ. Now though, bringing out the Blade Storm. Giorno's trying to get a good insight into what's going on in the site. Now the problem is the flashpoint, it has gone in, but has not caught any information for the rest of Ohio. So the swing through for Thicky Giorno is going to be rewarded. It's going to be sticky on the bomb. They don't know though that Minty is on the site, and also that Hunter's Fury to secure that this bomb does indeed go off. And a random shot. I don't even know how Sinclair got that kill.
Yeah, great awareness from Sinclair there to spray right through that box and finish off the final player. But yeah, really nice from Thicky Giorno and King Prime combining once again on that crossfire. Yor takes out King Prime, who peeks out, but Thicky Giorno is ready from door to swing out and get that player behind Generator. Unfortunately, goes for the defuse a little bit too early and a little bit too committed. The site hadn't quite been cleared, and so then they were able to go back on that retake, grab the positioning that they needed, Ohio, to continue defending that spike that was planted. So it is going to be another close one. Karmizma going down to a nice little play from those players on Heaven, but still 9-1 is the score for Ohio, and Bay's original now gets some info here. Going to stay on this angle. I really like this close angle here from Bay's original, and I'm not sure if Bay's took any damage there. No, that shock dart was dodged, and so Pippin not going to be happy with that one, but they sort of go for a more of a default. You can see Karmizma lurking over and actually trying to get some space scaling way up into B.
Well, the information is there that KJ is. If you guys did not know, the turret makes oh so much noise. You can hear it from miles away. So they, yeah, you know that KJ is here. You hear the little buzzing zzz that goes about with that utility. But how are they gonna get into the site? Well, with the Omen ult, does indeed get them onto it. King Prime goes down by trying to stay and be the king of the fort. Unfortunately, that was not the way. The retake, though, isn't the worst here for Ohio. Actually, as I say that, numbers are dwindling, especially Ficadorno with the shock, but also Game Racer goes down. That's a mess. It feels bad. And now Ohio just has 2 remaining players. They do have a little bit of utility to work around, but they did not expect Pippin to just be lurking about mid.
That's a 4K for Pippin on the round. What a play. Pippin playing on the lurk there. First waiting at the door, trying to catch those A lurkers, those A rotators, where that is what punished Ohio the last time that they actually lost a round, was those rotators coming through and not being stopped so they could get there really quickly. This time Pippin's ready, gets the info on the players in A, goes to kill someone mid, and then watches the rest of the rotation come through in a nice little double spray down. So lovely from the Sova. We've already complimented Pippin and continuing to do so, very rightly so. But Karmizma still 22 kills. Ficadorno 13 kills. It's, you know, it's starting to feel like a bit of a duel, a grudge match between these 2 star duelists here. Karmizma definitely coming out on top so far as the paranoia does come through, and they are going to be dissuaded by a little bit of KO utility here.
Oh, but the bait, that was a full-on bait for the rest of Ohio squad. As you can see, everybody and their mothers are over onto that A site. And with that, that gives alert to South Carolina to rotate over onto B. But King Prime does peek out the ponytail of the stage. I always talk about how long that ponytail is.
Yeah.
You can like see so much. Like the hitbox for Sage is so small compared to that ponytail. But anyways,
yeah,
that's
Sage
not
got
the
a
point.
nice little pixie cut from that Marshall shot.
Also, though, able to get onto the site, and now Pimpin is in its own gameplay, rolling around, trying to find some more kills. But unfortunately, Game Racer said, "Okay, you did this to me the last time. I'm just gonna expect it once again." Trying to retake from CT is going to be the Ohio squad, who is having a hard time even setting one little tiny pinky toe onto the site. Finally, Ficadorno clouds the garage area, allowing for Mentorman to get onto the site through stairs. There is a blind in the back pocket, but all you need is Ficadorno's crosshair to be in the perfect direction. Minty Gamer, though, picked up an operator, I believe, from Ficadorno the previous round, and is allowing for the squad to be there, and the reload goes through, but don't you worry, Minty takes out the Sheriff, and with that, there's going to be the 11th point on the board for South Carolina, just making their way onto the second half with just the greatest lead of them all.
Yeah, 11-1, very, very decisive from Ohio, and we do see these games sometimes go this way. It's, you know, a lot of discrepancy between some of these teams, but I still, you know, what I like is that this game is staying exciting even in spite of the scoreline. Very, very cool stuff from both teams so far, and yeah, you know, it was a shame to see Base Original go down without having used the Viper's Pit there. That was still available as that last round ticked to a close, the last half ticked to a close, so hopefully we can see a little bit more proactivity from some of those ultimate abilities, really using those resources, you know, even when it feels like overkill, I think is the right play to go for in a lot of these cases. But over on the attack side now is going to be the side of South Carolina. And if they hit this B site, they will run into this double stack. You can see it's going to be Yor ready with the wall to give Karmizma sort of a one and done angle here. But Karmizma doesn't want any of that, wants to go for more. There's one, there's two. Karmizma gonna go for more. There's another headshot and they just can't hit him. Three, that's going to be four. And tries to go for the ace, but Yor is the one to finish it off as there weren't enough bullets in the Ghost.
Yor said, oops, I did that. I'm sorry. But not really, but I'm sorry. Wow, talk about the massive confidence of just being a duelist, and not only being a duelist, but having your crosshair placement. If I can suggest anything to anyone, it would be aim train, aim train, aim train. And I think Charisma is the perfect role model for that. You see how perfectly that position was. The spray control was just chef's kiss.
Karmizma is now at a rate of more than 2 kills a round, which is absolutely ridiculous. That is unheard of in competitive Valorant for the most part. King Prime, though, does manage to grab an initial kill onto Sinklu. That's a great find because that Omen going down means it's going to be very difficult for them to get any entry. Thicky Jorno, unfortunately, though, gets caught out in the open, and so we come into a 4 versus 4 situation.
Though I do like the vision that Ohio has here. The vision is we bait out A, but we actually go B. As you can see, the spike making its way through mid. They're gonna come into contact with Yor, who was nice and ready. Or actually, I'm sorry, King Prime was nice and ready for Yor there in that situation. Now this does allow for the bomb to get planted. But unfortunately, the rest of the squad of Ohio is going down in that rotation. It's going to be a 2v1. Potentially could make this a 1v1 here for King Prime if they go for this aggressive pick, as Pippin is nice and ready to go. And now Game Racer is oh so far away, needs to just W key their way onto the site. The Minty Gamer is ready for that peak. And just like that, South Carolina, they have set their way into their first dub. Actually, confirmation from chat, this might be, or from production, this might be their second win.
And that was Ohio. Just to be clear, Ohio Virtual coming up with the W there. Karmizma way on top. And yeah, if I'm seeing this correctly, I think that is going to be Ohio's first victory in the league so far. Yeah, from what I'm seeing anyway in February and January. So very, very well played. And, you know, it's shocking to see after what we've just seen that they haven't been able to take down some of these heavier hitters. But Karmizma really doing so much heavy lifting in this game, and man, it was just a beautiful to watch. And there's, I mean, you know, I've saw Karmizma in the combine also perform exceptionally well, and so it's no surprise that he continues to do so. This is an absolute player to watch. But there's a few other players to watch, and of course Thicky Jorno really does come to mind, holding so strong under, you know, insurmountable seemingly odds with that Jet, still getting so many kills, getting so many hero rounds, and really making things difficult for Ohio.
Yeah, it was I liked the idea that was brought forth by Ohio. Excuse me, I kept swapping the names ever so often. But South Carolina, the vision, I like the idea of bringing out the KJ because KJ is such a solid pick for that B. I did see glimpses of them being close to winning some rounds when they were adapting to what Ohio was bringing to the table. For example, that round where KJ really held down the A site with that lockdown, with the mollies as well. I think in the future for South Carolina, being able to quickly adapt or even just do a little bit more diving into what this team is doing. Take a pause. I believe we have pauses in the game, right? Yeah, we have some tactical pauses that you can take to really talk to your squad and be like, hey, what's going on? Where are we kind of falling apart? And I think taking those pauses and kind of analyzing what is your opponent. Of course, it's so hard when Charisma was just perfectly hitting every shot. Yep. I get it. Don't worry. It happens to the best of us. But I think, you know, talking about that, all right, maybe we don't fight Charisma. Maybe when we do fight Charisma, we make sure that two of us are fighting Charisma instead of just one. So communication, communication is key.
I think you've nailed it there. I mean, you know, just making sure that players are playing together. We saw it a lot, and it's something that you can take from watching Ohio. You can see that Sova goes in with the shot, with the recon dart, and that's when Karmizma makes his move to swing in. Or one player peeks, gets taken down. We saw it from King Prime and Thicky Jorno a little bit, where one would peek, even if they die, that's okay, because Thicky Jorno is ready to come out the corner and kill that player, and now you've got a trade going. And, you know, it's really, we did see it, just need to see a little bit more of that. But in any case, Ohio going to be very happy with a decisive victory. And, you know, if any of these players want to take a look at how to improve their game, well, we've got news for you. Best Student GG is going to come up on the break and give us a little coaching session. So going to be a bit of a break, but after that, we are going to see Best Student GG go take us through some coaching. Not sure what it's going to be about just yet, but we will see. Very excited to check that out. And then after that, we are going to be having one more match, the return of Texas. They're going to be playing up against Washington Virtual. So stay tuned. Stride eSports League has lots more for you this Friday night. Don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, welcome back to the stream. My name is Jonah. I'll be bringing you another episode of Valorant Basics today. If you guys have any questions, just remember the chat is on a 3-minute delay, but as soon as it's going to, as soon as I see the question in chat, I'll definitely be able to answer it. And if you guys have any extra need for me to show you guys something specifically, please do let me know there. Today, we'll be covering the last of our 4 roles in Valorant, which will be the Sentinel roles. That includes Cypher, Killjoy, Chamber, and Sage. All 4 of these characters play much differently from one another. Anton asks, "Hi, Jonah, what's your name?" My name is Jonah. Thanks so much for asking, Anton. That is my real name, but you can find me at beststudentgg on Twitter. And let's get into it. So, the first agent we'll be talking about is going to be Chamber. So, Chamber's real name is Vincent Fabron. He hails from France. He is a human and has the codename Deadeye. His 4 abilities are Rendezvous, Trademark, Headhunter, Tour de Force, and Tour de Force. And one of the more interesting things is we will actually showcase you guys, me and Anton will, the in-game interactions between Chamber and another character. So let's both go ahead and lock in Chamber here. Oh, it looks like Anton doesn't have Chamber on this account, but he will pick a character that I will probably enable it. I do believe cheats are on, so we should be able to swap to all available characters if I'm not incorrect. You click escape, you can actually change over to Chamber, I believe, Anton. And let's go ahead and meet inside B main really quickly. So Chamber's abilities are as follows. We've got Headhunter, which is going to be his Q, Trademark, which is his C, as well as Rendezvous, which is his E. So let's start off talking about his signature ability, which is Rendezvous. Chamber equips this placard, this little card that you can throw onto the ground or onto high ground as well. And this will allow him to teleport between the 2 different totems that he places on the ground. The first one is I'm going to put over here, and this is going to be my recall spot, right? And if I was to want to peek a certain area of the map, I could then use the radius of this being the start of the rendezvous, and the end being the red line you see over there. This is the full range of Chamber's Rendezvous, and it goes something like this. If, let's say, an enemy is on Cat here, and I was to peek Catwalk, I could then press E, and it will teleport me back to the previous recall location that I had there. So we'll turn on infinite abilities there, and I'll showcase it really quickly again. Again, this is Chamber's signature ability, Rendezvous, and it's free to use. And so if an enemy's on Cat here, I can go ahead and peek them, and go for a 1-tap, and if they start shooting me, I can then TP back. Like so. So Chamber's Rendezvous allows him to do a lot of cool things. It allows him to, get a free shot or 2 off against good players, and also it allows the allied team to team members to know where he's playing around to. It also gives Chamber a pretty good access to high ground as well. So, for example, I can create really strong angles in the beginning of the game by getting onto this high ground over here. Of course, there is a longer cooldown on the rendezvous when it's activated. And of course, if let's say I am moving away from those rendezvous pillars, I can actually take them back, and then I can go to a different spot. So that's kind of Rendezvous in a nutshell. It gives you the ability to take aim duels and then quickly get out of dodge, and it also allows you to have access to high ground. The ability is also incredibly important to set up in the beginning of the round, and that's what you'll notice with a lot of these Sentinel characters. Most of their utility is actually focused on using it before the start of the round and having it set up ahead of time. So Chamber's next ability is actually his Q. This is called the Headhunter ability. It does 55 damage to the body, as so, and it does 150 to the head. So I can actually one-shot Anton just like that with the Q ability. And of course, each bullet does end up costing 150 credits, so it can be a little bit difficult when you are strapped for credits in the game. Bunny Rat, how is your day going? It's going good. Yeah, it's sunny, nice and sunny here in Seattle, so thank you for asking. And yeah, this allows me to basically have a weapon with one shot, one kill potential on eco rounds. For 150 credits, if I'm very, very accurate, I can land this headshot. The most known chamber player in the world right now, his name is Ye. He's going to be on Cloud9's VCT team. And if you want to look him up, you could just look up Ye FPS on YouTube. And he shows a lot of cool interactions with Chamber, as well as shows off his aim. Typically, people that play Chamber are going to be characters or players individually that heavily focus on aim. They want to take duels pretty often, and they kind of are similar to that duelist role. So you'll see a lot of very high-profile aimers like Tens or Ye play those agents. That's why Headhunter is such a dangerous ability to have for those people that can land easy headshots. As you saw, 150 credits per bullet is quite expensive. So making sure that each shot counts is always going to be great. The next ability is actually Trademark from Chamber. Chamber equips another card, and I can put this down at any location, and within the radius of this trademark, it'll actually mark the opponent. So Anton will go ahead and walk out of B main here, and as he walks out, the chamber trip will actually activate and make him slow down. It'll reduce his movement speed by 50%, making him a much easier target to kill. It's also really good on defense to section off areas of the map. For example, if I'm defending on Ascent, I could actually leave this tripwire in mid, and if I leave it in mid here, oh, sorry about that, leave it in mid here, I now no longer have to watch the mid to B push. Now that that's sectioned off, I myself can just focus on B main here as chamber. So that's kind of like how you would use the chamber tripwire. As soon as you see it lit up, activated on your screen in the top left or on front of your screen with target hit, you actually respond to that, have a teammate swing off of it, or you yourself can be the one to challenge that angle. So Trademark is only 200 credits. It's a must buy for Chamber. That 200 credits is a great utility flank watcher. In the game of Valorant, Sentinel's job, the role is to usually watch the flank or take up the rear. Chamber's role is quite different in that you have to put up the tripwire, but then also go for a peek early on with your rendezvous. So that combination would look something like this, where you put the tripwire on defense in mid, and then you would walk up here, put the first rendezvous at a safe location over here, and then you could actually challenge inside B main early on. So you fight early on, mid is being watched, and now you can always TP back if you need to the safe location. This makes Chamber one of the most strongest agents in the game right now, despite having been nerfed several times. Now, Chamber's ultimate ability, which is only, it's a 7 cost, but it's kind of like an operator, the $4,700 credit gun, this operator gun, but it's actually a bit stronger. It only lasts 1 round, and it is called Tour de Force, but when activated by pressing X, you get this rifle here. You can scope once or scope twice. This just allows you better zoom, better magnification. And if you are to eliminate an enemy with it, it actually creates the same slow rendezvous field that you saw right here, the trademark field. The same slow field will activate based on the kill. That being said, there is only 5 bullets inside Tour de Force, so make sure that you use the shots with a lot of care. As you can see, each kill will actually, make it so that the ground is actually covered in this slow again. Thank you so much again for Anton actually being the one that is basically just getting shot over and over. So we really appreciate it, Anton. Thank you so much for doing this. And so that's kind of Chamber's utility kit. As you can tell too, when you are activating the Tour de Force, it's so good for Chamber's economy basically. So the number of credits you get per round is essentially an economic game, right? At the start of a round, the first round, you have 800 credits, and then from there you'll get another 1900, and then you'll get another 2400. So each number grows by 500 for each subsequent round. That is only if you are losing the previous round, though. If you're winning, you still get that 1900 back again. That being said, the reason why Chamber is so good for the economy of the game is because if you were to take away all these infinite credits really quickly, and you were to actually, have to spend money on things, right? Having the ability to buy a one-shot gun for 150 credits and also the ability to get a free rifle for the round is extremely important. Let's say my teammate next to me is actually poor. I could give them the rifle, then I could actually use my tour de force, actually saving our whole team quite a lot of money. This is really, really strong, making sure that your team's economy and everyone's wallets are nice and healthy so that everyone on your team can make sure to purchase not only weapon this round, but next round as well. It's similar to the way that Jet's Blade Storm plays, in that you can actually use the weapon, the Blade Storm, for a single round and just have that instead of actually buying your own gun. So it's going to be extremely strong that way. Chambers is one of those agents that helps out your team quite a lot in both flank watching, economy, and also getting those early duels activated. So that's it for Chamber, really. If you guys want to see more in-depth Chamber gameplay, I highly suggest you check out Yay FPS on YouTube. He's going to be the guy rocking Chamber most of the time that we saw this year, as well as going into next year as well. So the next agent we'll be talking about is actually the one that Anton's playing right now. His name is Cypher. So we'll go ahead and change over to Cypher. So now that we're on Cypher, we'll go back to the PowerPoint and take a quick look at his character design. So as you can see, Cypher is pretty aptly named. The actual word for Cypher actually means a puzzle that you have to kind of figure out, a puzzle you have to solve. You can usually crack it if you have a specific code, or how you can actually break it is if you have a ledger to figure out where things are and how the code is written. His real name is Amir El Amari. He hails from the region of Morocco, and his code name is Gumshoe. Gumshoe, most likely because he makes it very difficult for agents to move around the map without getting stuck. His 4 abilities are Spy Cam, which is his signature ability, Trapwire, Cyber Cage, and Neural Theft. Neural Theft was, of course, his ultimate ability. So we'll hop back in the game really quickly, and I'll showcase you guys a little bit about Cypher. So Cypher here has the signature ability, which is this Spy Camera. I can actually go ahead and place it at a pretty decent angle all around the map. I personally like putting the Spy Cam just a little bit higher, making so that my opponents actually have to look up at high ground. So for example, let's say I was on the defensive side here. If I'm defending B site, I can actually put my camera up here, above B main here. One sec, let me just get on higher ground. I can put it above B main, similar how Anton put it. And let's say he was walking in through B main. I could actually hide, tucked over here, go on my camera, and wait till he comes in. And as he comes in, I can see him the whole time. He's not looking exactly straight up because I'm on the camera, right? And he's not really looking up here. Then I could tag him as he's clearing things. And as it pings him, I can actually go ahead and confirm this frag very easily, as when the dart is stuck in him, it actually reveals where he is. He actually needs to stop and pull it out. So I'll demonstrate that. Anton, go ahead and tag me with your camera. So now the tracking dart is inside of me. My position's actually revealed to him over and over through a series of pings. In order to get rid of it, I have to stand still and hold F to remove it. During that time is where a lot of players will take advantage of it and actually confirm the kill onto Anton. Some more useful things are, of course, Cypher's tripwire, which you can actually place right here. And one of the best things to learn about Cypher is, if you're a newer player, remember, you want the tripwire to be high enough so that you can't jump over it, right? But you also want it high and just low enough so that the enemy can't crouch underneath it, right? So one of the best things you can do as Cypher when starting off is actually go against the wall and just look straight and crouch and put the tripwire head height. This makes it so that the Cypher tripwire isn't crouchable, as it'll hit his head, and it's not jumpable too because you can't get above it. So just a quick little tip for Cypher tripwire is crouching against the wall, put it at head height, and just drop it there. This will make it so that your tripwire is not jumpable or crouchable every single time. So Anton, go ahead and try to get past the tripwire. Jumping doesn't work, as you can see there. And if he doesn't shoot the Cypher tripwire, it actually activates, concussing him for a brief amount of time. The same thing, Anton will now try to crouch the tripwire. And you can see it'll hit him in the head right there, and it'll make it so that he is concussed as well as revealed. Now, these are excellent tactics to use in combination with one another, the Cypher tripwire and the camera in combination. You can use those very effectively together to basically section off whole points of the map. The same thing with Cypher as you did with Chamber. You can actually put a tripwire here in the middle of the map. This means that they can't go mid to B here. The same thing that we used with Chamber's trademark over here, we actually do with the Cypher tripwire. So nobody can get past this area without triggering this tripwire. And then we can actually put one in B main as well. And this means that we've effectively sectioned off two giant holes in the map, being mid, bottom mid, and B main. This is what makes Cypher such a standard, very, very standard character, and when on release of the game, Cypher was actually one of the only Sentinels really played at the highest level because he had so much utility to offer. On top of that too, you can use the Cyber Cage, which is just by pressing Q, you throw a cage on the ground, and in order to detonate it, you can press F. I usually like to put my Cypher cages underneath my tripwires. This makes it so that if the opponent was to trigger my Cypher tripwire, I can now see him through it and he cannot see me, and it makes the kill much, much easier. Just like that. So we'll do it one more time for demonstration's sake. Anton, thank you so much for this again. He is now going to get tripped, and I can then shoot him very easily through the tripwire. Now, one other thing that Cypher can do too is his ultimate ability, which is called Neuro Theft. When there's a dead body in front of you, for the 15 seconds after the body is dead, I can actually press X on the body if I have my ultimate. It throws my hat, and then after a short while, it actually reveals the enemy team's position. So I can then, on getting a frag, getting a kill, I can actually figure out where my opponents are playing. So in a 5v5, if I get the first pick, I can then use the Neural Theft, find out where the other four are, helping me and my teammates, because Valorant is an information game, and getting more and more information for you and your team is going to help you net more wins and rounds and win more games essentially. So that's a brief overview of Cypher, and a really short setup on A would look something like this. We're going to head over to the A site really quickly. And on A, some of the cool things that you can do are one-ways. You can actually stand over here and you could lob the cage up and make a one-way. But I'm not going to do that really quickly. I'm going to show you the tripwire that I like to use the most, which is actually like this. So the reason I like throwing the tripwire like this is because typically enemies will actually shoot the tripwire if it's something like this. Anton can actually be alerted to this tripwire through a sound, so he can actually go ahead and shoot it very easily, confirming it and deleting it. Because of that, I put this tripwire here, which he cannot break unless he fully exposes himself. So that's why if he has to fully expose himself to this tripwire, and I'm playing on the A site, it's going to be a lot easier for me to take him out as opposed to that one. So that's kind of an AH light tripwire. I also like to do something like this, where I put the camera, if I could take the camera back, which I can apparently. Give me 1 second. Also like to combine a variety of cameras on different maps. For B, you can put a camera there, or here as well, is also good. And in mid, what you could do is you could throw a camera right here, and you can see all of mid very, very easily. Now, the camera for A, you can do a bunch of them, right? So there's tons of cameras that you can do, but one of my favorite cameras is going to be above the A site here. This way, as people are coming into A, you can kind of ping them very, very easily and see where they're up to. Now, remember, the whole point of Sentinels is that you are the anchor for a site, right? You are the person that is going to be defending the bomb site, or you're going to be lurking on offense. So it's important that you make sure that you're paying attention to your map when you're playing the Sentinel role. So that was very easy to play, kind of Cypher on defense, where you're kind of playing off of your utility. But on offense, it's about tripwiring the flanks. So if my whole team is going to go to the A bomb site while on offense, I want to make sure that their backs are being watched. But look, in order to do that, I can put the tripwire here. But if my opponents are playing characters such as Jet, or characters such as Omen, they can actually TP beyond these tripwires very, very easily. Or what they could do is that they could updraft over them as well. So it makes it very difficult to, place those tripwires if you have opposing characters that can kind of counter them. In addition, as Anton just demonstrated, you can actually use this bike right here to jump over the tripwire. Of course, if you are on this side though, flanking A main, it's very difficult. But if our team is attacking through A main, it's actually not jumpable because our whole team will be in this direction anyway, holding this. So that's kind of why you would put this tripwire if your team was hitting A, because this bike would be on your side. That being said, one thing that Cypher should always try to focus on is tripwiring both flanks. You have 2 tripwires in the beginning of the round, so it's very common to see Cyphers running around the map, putting a tripwire in both B main and A main, and then that way they can easily hold mid. So Cypher is one of those characters that can affect the whole map. You have a lot of tools to gather information, such as the cameras and tripwires, and then furthermore, you can basically you can play off of it as much as possible. With this offensive camera in mid, you can see all the enemy team's bottom mid as well as catwalk. You have tripwires A and B main, so you're effectively all over the map. You're making presence and helping your team no matter where they go. Your Cypher cages can also be used as temporary smokes too. You can help out your controller player while in offense. If you want to take over mid position, you can throw a Cypher cage onto catwalk, and then you could throw one bottom mid, and now this whole space over here is yours. Of course, if enemies go through the Cypher cage, it actually makes a noise just like that. So again, Anton will go through the Cypher cage. That noise right there alerts me and lets my team know as well that someone is going through the Cypher cage. And of course, you guys want to learn more about Cypher, I will link a resource too in chat. His name is Gosu Peak. He gives you a lot of different tripwires, cage setups, and cameras that you can use all over the different maps of Valorant. You can use them on Ascent as well as the newer maps. And the last tip I'll leave you guys with is the double tripwire. So one of the best things that I've seen players do is utilizing the double tripwires. So basically how it goes is if the opponents want to attack B, you could put one tripwire here and the enemies will actually run into it or break it, but they won't expect the second tripwire pretty much right after it. So let's say they hear the sound, because you can actually hear the sound of the tripwire here. So Anton will hear the sound and he can break the first one. But after he breaks the first one, he'll run into the second one because it's much harder to detect the noise of the second one. In addition to that, what we can do as well is we can actually change the height variation of our tripwires. For example, one of the best things that's also possible for the double tripwires is to put one high and one low. This makes it so that they hear the first tripwire, they break it, and then immediately they'll run into the second one as well. It's kind of the similar idea, but just varying the height of the tripwires is always going to be good once in a while. So as such, it's very, very difficult to, when you layer them together and you make this sort of insurance policy for your own tripwire, that you can easily get a frag. So that's going to be kind of how you play Cypher on Ascent, on both attack and defense. Of course, if you guys have any questions or comments about how to play Cypher, just feel free to write it in chat. Or you guys have any questions about Valorant at all, I'll be sure to answer them as soon as I get to them. So nextly, we'll be going to Killjoy. Killjoy's character design is very, very unique. She hails from Germany. Her name is Clara Bowringer. Her alias is AJ, just the 2 letters. And if I was to say anything about Killjoy, is that her utility is very robotic. It's all about machinery, right? So your abilities are turret, alarm bot, nanoswarm, and lockdown. All of those are some type of machine, some type of utility that you can use in a similar way to Cypher, but it's a lot more active, I'll say, and a little bit more restricting as well. So we'll go ahead and change over to Killjoy now. Now that I'm on Killjoy, you can see that I've got all of these different utilities as compared to Cypher. And if I was to put some of them down, you could see right here that, this turret, while it's active here, right, it's going to be providing a lot of utility. But you'll see on the minimap, there's actually this little range right here, this little circle above the turret. And this circle means that if I step outside of the circle's range right here, the turret will no longer be activated. So that's what I mean by Killjoy being just a little bit more restrictive. You can see the turret is live, it'll shoot Anton, but as soon as I step out of the range of the turret, as I'm no longer within its effective range, it'll cease to operate and Anton can actually walk up to the tower now and it no longer spots him. This makes Killjoy a little bit less effective as a flank watcher because your utility does require you to be within a certain range for it to remain effective. The same is true though of Killjoy's alarm bot, which is Killjoy's Q. You can actually put it down, but it has the same range. Now what happens when Anton shows up on the screen is that the turret actually activates and does 3 shots of 6 damage each, so up to 18 damage per shot, and it makes it so that slowly but surely will actually kill Anton, but it takes a very, very long time. Time long enough for that Anton could actually shoot the Killjoy turret and actually end up killing it. As you can see here, Anton is actually killing the Killjoy turret. I don't know why it's not is it invincible here? Let me turn off invincibility here. There you go. Anton, you can kill the turret now. Thank the Lord, the turret finally went down. All turrets will rise up eventually and take us all down, as machines are very scary nowadays, especially with this whole Killjoy setup. So I'll be showing you guys a quick Killjoy setup. Anton, come over here real quick. You'll activate the Nano Swarm. The Nano Swarm is on the ground here, the alarm bot, and it actually goes onto the opponents when they're spotted and applies this vulnerability to them, meaning that they take double damage for anything that I do. So a cool combination is actually use this with Killjoy's Nano Swarm. So when you press C, Killjoy can hold a nade, and if I was to right click, it would lob the nade close to me, and if I was to left click, it would throw the nade further than me. And what happens is that they remain on the ground hidden, and they make slight amounts of noise to the opponents, but once I detonate them, they become swarms. These basic Molotovs on the ground will make it so that the opponents cannot go through certain sections of the map. So let's pretend for a second that I'm on defense as Killjoy. I'll show you guys a quick Killjoy setup and then we'll move on. So what Killjoy wants to do is put down her alarm bot to watch certain areas of the map as well as her turret. So I'll put my alarm bot here, and then most teams like to go up this lane or come out through B main. So I'll put 2 Nano Swarms, 1 for B main and 1 for the lane, and then I'll have my turret also spot the area as well. So as you can see for Sentinels, especially Cypher and Killjoy, I actually don't need to do a lot of fighting. I'm actually letting my utility do a lot of the work for me and kind of capitalizing on it after the fact. So I'm not really fighting anyone. Anton comes in, he's trying to shoot my turret, but while he's doing that, I can actually kill him for free. Instead as well, if he was to come out too of B main, my alarm bot will then activate onto him. And once the alarm bot activates, I can actually use my other 2 Nano Swarms and let them deal a decent amount of damage to him as well. So Killjoy is a very hard character to avoid. Another thing you could do too on B is put your alarm bot in mid. This is kind of the same way that Cypher had his tripwire here, and where Chamber had his nice trademark here as well. So all 3 Sentinels we looked at so far have a way of sectioning off parts of the map, whether that be through the Killjoy alarm bot or the Chamber trademark or the Cypher tripwire. Those 3 abilities really allow players to kind of have their flanks watched as well as other access points. So I'll go ahead and show you a Killjoy attack side on B and what that looks like. When you're attacking on Killjoy, you really want to make sure that your flank's being watched, right? But in order to do that, you can't really stand within range of all your utility. So what I have to do instead is use my turret offensively. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and activate my turret and put it up here. This makes it so that my turret will spot both lower mid and catwalk, and if the turret gets activated, I can then swing out and confirm the kill. Like so. Something like that would work. So that was kind of how you're supposed to play Killjoy, right? You're supposed to use Killjoy as a very defensive character. Offense, it lacks a little bit of power, but of course you can make up for it on the defensive side. Now, one more showcase really quickly is going to be Killjoy on the A site. So Killjoy has a lot of turret spots that you can actually put, My favorite is over here, though. You can actually put it up here, forcing your opponents when they're attacking A to hard clear this corner before anything, and then I can easily swing off of it as so. So I hide behind here, the Killjoy turret gets activated, then I swing out and take out my opponent as so. In combination too, what I can do is I can have the alarm bot here on catwalk, meaning that nobody can come up that location as well. And I found that the best Killjoy spots are based on her setup. So one of my favorite things to do is use the parts of the map as kind of a designation. So I use this sewer grate and this sewer grate over here, and then I'll put an alarm bot over here, and my turret will be placed like so. So if I'm just defending catwalk, this is a great setup. As you can see, all of my utility is very on top of each other. There's no way an opponent will really get through this area because it's completely sectioned off. And this in combination with my ultimate, which is actually called Lockdown, I can throw it right here on the A garden side. And now that it's activated in the A garden side, it actually locks down the entirety of the A site, with the exception of just a little bit of A wine. This means that within the duration, opponents have time to get out, but if they don't get out, they'll be detained, they move very slow, and can no longer shoot, and it makes it a great time for easy kills for me as well. So that's kind of how you would play Killjoy on the defensive side with both your utility as well as with your ultimate ability. Some common nanoswarm spots with your C ability are also here in Generator on Plant, as well as here in A main. You could even go as far as to put this over here, which is throwing your nanoswarm into the corner of hell. Once you have A site, if your opponents are trying to come up through heaven, I can actually activate it and it sections off this area of the map. So that's kind of how Killjoy works. I would heavily suggest the character. If you are newer to the game, you can let your utility do the work. If you've got a mind for macro gameplay where things are very strategic, then I heavily suggest trying out Killjoy or Cypher. Chamber being that character. If you're more into challenging and fighting people, using Chamber's kit is going to be much better for that one. So we'll move on to our last Sentinel character and the last character in our series of Valorant Basics on Sentinels. So that last character is going to be Sage here. And really quickly, before we change over to Sage, let's just remember that if you do want to learn more about Killjoy itself, I heavily suggest you check out this resource called Bjor Lulu on YouTube. He is a premier Killjoy player in North America and shows a lot of interesting lineups too that you can check out. I'll go ahead and link their descriptions as well as their channels later on. For now, let's go ahead and change over to Sage. So let's go back to the PowerPoint really quickly and I'll showcase you guys a little bit about Sage. Sage is Chinese. Her full name is Ling Yinwei and her alias is the Balm of Shangji. So what's so interesting about Sage is that she's one of the only 2 characters in the game that can actually heal other characters. So Sage being a Sentinel, she's able to heal other characters as well as Skye being one of those initiators. It's very, very common to actually see Sage in lower elos because she is such an easy character to play, but her skill ceiling is actually much higher too. That's because of her other abilities, Slow Orb and Barrier Orb. So I'll go ahead and showcase Sage's abilities really quickly. Let's head over to the B site here. And while I'm on the B site here, you can see that Sage has quite a lot of different variables that she can work with, right? When you press Q here, you equip this Slow Orb that you can actually toss out. And so one of the things that people like to do is just aim at a location, go a little bit above the location's, the actual point's location. You just go a little bit above it on this axis of Y here, and you can throw out the slow, and it gets this nice area slowed so that if any opponents peek catwalk, you can actually take care of them as well. Now, another thing that people like to do actually too with Sage is go into B main here on attack and use this box right here. If I wish to get on top of this box, I can press C then, equipping my Barrier Orb, and I can actually put the Barrier Orb down onto the ground, and this gives me a nice little boost. And this little boost lets me see perfectly into market. So if any opponents are standing into market or on the B site as well, I can actually see them quite easily. So if Anton peeks either market or on the B site, he's very easy for me to take out, like so. So it's kind of how you can use Sage's wall on offense to create an angle that is not wasn't seen before, right? Using the high ground with the barrier orb is going to be very cool. Also, you can use slow orb from this position to take away 2 areas from the opponents as well. So no matter where they're at, you can actually take them out. And now Sage does have a lot of other boost spots as well with the barrier orb. For example, people can stand on this box inside of B on T side and very easily boost themselves up as well. So that's kind of what Sage's abilities do. You can throw the slow on the ground. That makes it so that anyone walking through it, foe or ally, has a nice little noise cue, and also is slowed down significantly. These are very annoying to deal with, and also one of the few abilities that has such a good AoE of removing people's pace. And of course, Barrier Orb, which is the C ability, is very hard to deal with, especially on pistol rounds. So me and Anton will actually try to break through this Barrier Orb on a pistol round where we only have our classics. As you can see here, it's very difficult to break. This will make it so that the push, if an opponent is stalled for very long. So while Sage doesn't necessarily have the utility kit of the traditional Sentinels in Cypher, Killjoy, or Chamber, that they have like a tripwire to watch something, or an alarm bot, or a tripwire, or the trademark ability, you can actually section off areas of the map very easily with Slow Orb and Barrier Orb. And of course, if you or your teammates need any extra HP, like Anton does here, they'll be alerted here in yellow, and their HP will be lower, and I can go ahead and actually heal them. Of course, if I get damaged too, I can actually heal myself as well, which is just a great little tidbit if you ever want to heal yourself. Oh, you gonna shoot me here, Anton? Oh, he's rebelling. He's rebelling. And so you could see Anton shooting me here. I'm very scared of him now, but I can go ahead and put on my heal orb, and if I right-click with it instead of left-clicking, it actually heals me. So that's why Sage is so powerful. She has the ability to heal her teammates and her allies, section off areas of the map with her slow orb, and create interesting angles of attack or defense with her barrier orb. She can deny pushes very easily, and one of the other things she can do too is resurrect her teammates as well. So when a teammate is dead, you can actually resurrect them. So I actually don't know if we can showcase that. I guess we would need a third person. But imagine I think he just tried to die right there. Anton, you didn't die. Well, imagine if you die, you can actually use the resurrection function on a teammate here by pressing the X button and make it so that they come back to life. Regardless of the case, we don't necessarily need to showcase it as so much as it is what it is already. So you can heal, you can resurrect people, and here we go. Let's see if we can. Yep, there it is. We can resurrect Anton. So just like that, they can come back to life. And of course, it is going to be really, really important to use the res whenever it's available. You want to make sure that when you have Sage Ultimate, you're actually not the first one to die. So basically, you want to bait other people, right? You want to make sure that you're the last person coming out of any area. You want to make sure you're the last alive, so you can use the resurrection to bolster your team, add numbers back to your team. That's kind of what Sage provides: a healer, someone who can resurrect people, and someone who can create interesting angles as well as slow areas of the map off. She's very good at stalling on defense, and she's very good on offense at stalling out opponents from retaking the site, and also the heal is indispensable for any team composition. That is the last character in the Valorant Basics lecture. And, thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. I appreciate you guys for sticking around. And thank you, of course, Anton, for being a very, very helpful test partner and showcasing all that Valorant agents have to offer. So we'll go ahead and load out of this one, and we will go back to the PowerPoint. So the last thing I want to leave you guys with is that making sure that you pick an agent that helps round out your whole team composition, that's what can lead to more wins. So if you're really interested in making sure that your team has a well-rounded composition, making sure that you are not insta-locking an agent is going to be really helpful. I don't know how many times that people insta-locked an agent and made it very difficult for a team to win. A team almost always needs one of each role. So we can go back really quickly and refresh your guys' memory on the 4 different roles. The 4 different roles are controller, sentinel, initiator, and duelist. And the 5th player can flex to whatever character they kind of want. Typically in the current meta, it is a double initiator or a double duelist meta. So you can actually pick between getting another initiator if you're the 5th player, or you can pick another duelist as well. Oftentimes, when people are insta-locking, you want to make sure that you have at least one agent in each role that you know how to play. So if you're playing controller, you want to make sure you either master Brimstone or Omen, even Harbor now, or Viper. If you're playing Sentinel, you want to master one of the 4 agents that we just talked about. Initiator, of course, that's always good, and Duelist too, if you want to be the first one in and take down opponents. Thank you guys so much for listening. And of course, lastly, my name is Jonah, and you can always find me on Twitter at beststudentgg, or via Discord. You can add me, Jonah number 2728. I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much to Anton for helping me out in today's segment, and I will probably be back next week with even more advanced tips on how to improve your Valorant gameplay and how to improve anything you want. So just feel free to shoot me any questions you guys have, anything in particular you want to see, and I hope to see you guys next week. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Stride eSports League, where we're here for day 2 on Friday night. My name's Wes Rambo. I'm joined by Cute Noob. And Cute Noob, we saw a bit of a quick one in the last game, you know, a bit of a one-sided affair. But coming up on game number 2, we have a couple of teams with something to prove.
Yeah, we have Texas Virtual versus Washington. We were doing a little bit of research in the backgrounds about these squads, and it sounds like Washington, well, they're the established team. They have the most experience, and they've played some of the most experienced teams in the league. So I'm hoping not to jinx it here, Rambo, but Washington does seem to have the upper hand.
I definitely could see that. Washington have had a tough path through the league so far. They played a couple of the highest ranked teams, a couple of very, very good teams with Cava, California, as well as Tops. Both of those, TOPS, for instance, submitted, I think, all of their players to the Stride Combine, and all of them performed extremely well. That is a huge team and very, very difficult to beat. So Washington definitely coming in here, hoping to get another victory under their belt. Meanwhile, Texas still winless. They've got a couple of players who I definitely want to keep my eye on, who are quite good. Zintax and Devin in particular were players to watch that I can remember. But we've got Ascent once again. And so if those teams were watching Ascent and Cute Noob, if they were watching Best Student GG talk about Sentinels, maybe you could get your wish and we could see a little cipher coming in here.
Oh, I sure hope so, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a KJ as well. Like we talked about previously, KJ being one of those agents that it's kind of like you have to have her on this map if you want to lock down either one of those sites, kind of like how you have to have a Soba, for that, not only the Hunter's Fury, but also those shock bolts and all that information that you can gather from that recon. But let me check here with production. Production, is our team ready, set, go? I believe yep, it seems like we're ready. So we're going to be taking it in pretty soon. Let's talk about the team compositions that you want to see here, or maybe any expectations you have, since you have a little bit more information on Texas Virtual.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, broadly, first of all, we did see that Omen come in for both teams as the controller last time. That definitely could be coming in. But for these teams who are maybe still looking to get their footing, I would love to see some comfort picks, Cute Noob. I know that lots of people love to play that Brimstone. I think that, something like Astra is definitely totally fine. Even if you've been picking up Harbor and you want to bring it onto this map, I would be totally fine with it. But we already do see the Omen being hovered, and Shutter is hovering the Astra. So we are going to see a little bit of a switcheroo coming through here, as we do see both of these teams kind of going for comfort picks. We do see that Killjoy locked in, but there we go, double initiator coming through over on that side. It's going to be Sky and Sova.
Okay, I really like the choice by Shutter here to bring out that Astra. I am biased to Astra because I feel like she is a jack of all trades, and in the right hands, it could just be so strong for a squad, specifically playing with that combination of the shock bolts and the mollies coming out from Bubbles, aka KJ. That's going to be such a solid stronghold for whatever site that either one of these players may be. It's going to require a lot of communication from the squads, but if done right, this is going to be a really scary team composition, especially since I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but Washington's going to be the one starting out on defense.
Absolutely correct. Washington starting over on defense there. Texas coming in. We did see Texas last week, but they've made some changes. We're missing Luna Nova and Redo, and instead we do have Keat and Inforus coming through for those two roles. You see Keat going on to the KO, and speaking of KO, Texas Virtual going for a much more standard composition over on Ascent. It's going to be the KO. It's going to be the Omen. Of course, the Jet coming through, able to make that space. I talked about it last week, the way Jet can really create a crossfire for defenders who have to swing their crosshair back and forth if Jet gets in through towards that site. The same thing goes for Raze, of course, who can use those satchels to get some distance as well. So I'm excited to see Texas Virtual come through with some explosive stuff on the attacking side, using that Jet, using that Raze to try to discombobulate their opponents.
Yeah, well, let's see how this is about to go down here, as we do see a 4-stack heading over onto this A main site. A typical, right? We saw this even in game number 1. Rambo, which is teams decide to kind of snoop out what's going on onto that A, and it's a very good choice, specifically because when you start off the bat, you know that KJ loves that B site and KJ is set up, so to explore the option over onto this A is very viable. There was a little bit of a warning shot, but Purple said, I don't care about those warning shots, I'm here to party, and I'm gonna start things out with an easy 2K.
Yeah, Purple, I think, got a collat there. I think that was 1 bullet, 2 kills for the price of 1 for Purple, who starts things off very, very impressively for Washington. Going to be happy on that defensive end for the A site. And now that leaves Texas Virtual with a decision to make, and that is, where do we go from here? Because they are sort of stuck. They don't know if there's alert coming through. You do see Devin trying to look out towards mid and see if there is something coming, but you know, Washington, they are just going to hold their guns. They're just going to, they know they've got control of this round. They're just going to keep it and not push their luck.
Yeah, very nicely done. A squad that seems to have a lot of why am I blanking on this word? A lot of experience, especially as Shutter holds off the off angle there, just waiting for Infernals to try to peek in there, gets that kill. A missed shot there by Devin does allow that information that there is someone near here, and they are gonna aggress. A pull coming through, and that is the easy cleanup, a flawless for the side of Washington here, as the defense already looking mighty strong.
Yeah, even though we do see a pretty definitive first round, it's so different from what we saw last game, where it was one player, Karmizma, just absolutely running and gunning. This time it was team play. You do see Purple with 3 frags up on the scoreboard, but still, it was team play. You saw as they tried to re-hit that A site, Shutter was right there with the Astra utility. Everyone was ready with the crossfire, and that is a scary thing. It's almost scarier than seeing a really good player, is seeing very clean utility usage like that. So that's something that Texas is going to have to take into account.
Right now, weapons not at the best optimal choice here, and with the gathered information, Devin now is set in a spicy position. A flash comes through. Nothing came out of that. Some paint shells to also zone out, but the action is starting off over onto that B site. There is a switcheroo there. Keith is able to get the trade off, but replay says, all right, it's time for us to get on and start the engine. Gets a kill off mid, and now players are dropping like flies over on the side of Texas Virtual. They do have the bomb in their hands, so this is the best scenario, and they're kind of exploring their options. What's happening mid, what's happening over onto that A site.
Yeah.
But as we know, Washington is just oh so very patient and chooses their fights almost to the T. Oh, replay gets saved there by Bubbles. Bubbles says, don't worry, friend, I got you.
Yeah, very satisfying save, or anti-eco there for Washington. They were able to take minimal losses, not let them on site at all, holding strong on those angles, and a nice little pinch coming through towards Tiles. Purple coming out of B main. So yeah, just, you know, good team play, looking like a team. And, you know, you always start to notice, you know, some of these schools are putting a lot of resources, or putting a lot of time into their esports projects. It often comes down to the passion of those players time and time again to come together and play together. And you can see Pog Replay, Pog Shutter, these two players tagged up. They clearly play together outside of this tournament and outside of this league, and that almost always signifies that they are going to see success in the league. So you're already seeing exactly why that starts to matter. You know, those two players in particular have been playing together in these 2 rounds that we've seen. But now we do have a gun round coming through, and Keith wants to start things off strong. Zintax as well. That's 2 kills in mid and a big turnaround for Texas.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a gun difference here going forth for the side of Washington, that now have to create some space and take up some information, at least with the smoke being thrown over onto the CT. You do get that verification. Purple finds the shots, Shutter as well, but the trades are oh so immaculate going over to Texas Virtual. It's down to just 1 player. Recon gets thrown onto the site. No information gathered. Mollies are ready on the go here for the side of Texas. Shredder. Oh gosh.
Maybe?
Schrader. I like that. All right, well, Schrader is definitely looking to shred something. It's gonna be the players onto the site, but these mollies are doing oh so much damage. And Vito now ends it all. This is gonna be the first point going over to Texas Virtual.
Yeah, nice play into mid there. A really good push, because they were noticing in those past couple of rounds that the defenders of Washington were trying to take control of mid. And so they say, all right, you want to fight there? We'll fight you there. And that is kind of, you know, we do see that with some other teams, defenders giving up mid on Ascent. And right there, you see exactly why there are so many options for the attackers to be swinging from all sorts of different angles. And so Keat uses that. Keat and Zintax use that nicely to their advantage, get themselves on the board, and they are going to be facing up against a rebuy where neither team has weaponry that is perfect, but there is a little bit of a better situation for the defenders. Washington, Purple going out with the knives, and Bubblies on the Guardian.
Well, this was looking to be a solid A push, but it was that guiding light that scared the shenanigans out of Texas Virtual. They were like, yeah, I don't know. They gathered the information. We're here. Let's see what else we can explore. And why not mid? That's where they found success the previous round. They see Schrader there. Peeking out. Schrader also patient, tries to get the swing, but no, it does not go into fruition. Instead, it is with the helps of Bubbles that Schrader does eventually get the elimination and also has control of the spike. Now the rest of the squad of Washington collapsing onto the spike, but this is such a hard position. They want to make sure they don't overextend. There is that blind coming through for the side of Texas Virtual to keep at least some of them alive. But Schrader does get that ping over onto Devin, so Devin can't help out KJ here over onto the mid. With the player advantage and the bomb in sight, all Washington has to do is hold off the angles. But Devin manages to get the aggressive peek from Purple and the 2K as well. This is so scary for Bubbles, who can't get away from the line of sight of Devin.
And 2 versus 3 win there for Texas, and a great play by Zintax and Devin. Just patient play, holding that crossfire, getting the callouts from their teammates that there were some low HP bars over on the opposing side. And yeah, really excellent work by those 2 players. Zintax with some really crispy aim in mid, and it was a bit of a shooting range kind of round there, Cute Noob. Very unusual to see just everybody peeking out. Reminds me of playing paintball back in the day. Everyone's just kind of peeking out on the same wide open field, and it's not something you see very often on Ascent, but these 2 teams are very much trying to fight for mid.
Yep, just like you called it, the presence is there going over to Washington. Specifically, Jet not wanting to give up, like you stated, that mid control. But with that, Texas Virtual decides B site is going to be it, even though KJ had a full utility. And this is a beautiful call here by Bubbles to give it up. They were tagged with that flashpoint, so the utility wasn't actually activated, which allowed for Texas Virtual to get onto the site. Now we do see Astra being in their Astro form, putting down some Nebulas, trying to help with the retake. And this lockdown is going to make it so much harder, but it's going to look like they are trying their best at eliminating it. But unfortunately, the wall damage is there. The lockdown does detain 3 players, and the retake's going to be that much harder. The time is ticking, and for now, I think Washington's just trying to do some economy damage to the rest of the remaining players onto site. And I don't think it's going away.
The lockdown will buy the time here, Cute Noob. There's no way they can get here in time, even if they kill every single player in the back site. And there we go. We talked about strategy over individual play. Keat with a couple of kills on the end, but that just goes to show you, with 2 players remaining on the defense, not even able to get anywhere near. That Killjoy lockdown was just perfect, and they didn't manage to get it, even with a great flank coming through from Purple. Still no way into that site. And so just good game sense from the attackers of Texas to see that gap in the armor on the B site, get themselves in there. That definitely has to be an adjustment whenever that whenever that KO null command is available for the attackers. It has to be an adjustment from Bubbles to know that Killjoy utility there is not going to be sufficient.
Wow, Infernos takes out Shutter, so now no longer any Nebulas, any smokes, any pools, nothing available for the side of Washington, and this leaves a lot of open space and a lot of exploring. The exploration's going to be going over to Tree, where Replay has to back out because they were blinded. Now they're going to get control of Tree and be able to get themselves onto the site, but I love this quick rotation coming out from Washington. The teleport for Devin. Devin, oh no, I saw the vision there, but unfortunately, the whole squad was alert to that.
Yeah, Devin had 2 targets there and wasn't able to choose in time. Here comes Purple to continue that retake. Now it's a 4 versus 2 as Purple grabs that kill, and Zintax a very dangerous situation behind that generator. Vado, the only player remaining on the Jet, and Pog Replay will unseat him. So that's going to be an equalizing round from Washington. And yeah, Devin, I love the idea there, going for the from the shadows, and almost perfectly timed. Just a little unlucky that 2 players happened to be facing him down.
Yeah, as an Omen player, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get into their back line and I'm gonna be oh so sneaky. And then you realize that it was definitely not the brightest choice at that moment. But that's
Yep.
okay. You know,
Yep.
the point is you tried it out and you learned the lesson from that. And that's all about the competitive, right? You try something and then it doesn't work out and then
You've
you're
got
like,
to
okay,
take those risks,
okay.
right? You know, it definitely could have worked. It just was a little bit unlucky that there happened to be 2 players. So yeah, you know, I want the Omen main who tries those plays, right?
Absolutely. And talking about new plays, we have a slower change of pace coming out here from Texas Virtual. Instead of aggressing onto a site or really aggressing onto mid, they're waiting for Washington to be the first to peak. And Washington, as we know, and as you explained previously, they're an experienced squad. So they know that once they don't gather any information, all they're going to do is hold out a point. And I really do like this kind of semi-crossfire happening here from both Soba and KJ over onto the mid. And with that, Keat goes down to Shutter, who was once again just being patient on the angle that they were holding.
Yeah, Texas are on an eco buy here, so really any access to any site they can get will be satisfying to them if they can grab a spike plant. But we will see if they're able to do so. Looks like A was left open enough that, and Forrest tries to make his way back towards Wine and does not manage to do so. But Vado with the trade, gonna give them the plant, gonna give them the 3 versus 4 situation. If they can get 1 or 2 more kills here, they're gonna be satisfied with this round, Cute Noob, because it's all about economy control right now. Vado does pop the blades as well, though. Maybe he wants a little more out of this one.
I mean, it is very doable, especially as the time is ticking. Although that drone is going to gather so much information, they need to be careful for the KJ Mollies. The swing from Vado does get rid of replay. Now a 2v1, no more knives in the pocket of Vado, but don't you worry, picked up that Vandal. The Molly gets popped. Bubbles does have some shots, but no, it's going to be Vado's with the ace to say, I wanted more than just that, Rambo.
Vado won 1 HP, dashes out of the frag grenade from Killjoy. Unbelievable from Vado. That is heroic scenes on the A site of Ascent. Man, that is exciting to watch. So impressive from the duelist player of Texas. And yeah, you know, it was definitely that split decision, that one moment where the blades come out. It's like, we're not getting economy out of this round. We are getting the victory. We are taking the lead here on Ascent. Vado gets it done. Unbelievable.
Oh, and they're looking to do it again as that showstopper gets popped over onto the ace site, but it was purple with the swing and the elimination to come out, although that showstopper still in the hands, gets popped onto the site, but the swing coming through from Devin makes sure that purple does indeed go down. I believe that door is eliminated, so unfortunately for the side of Texas, they're not going to have that coverage, and with that showstopper, Hunter's Fury coming out, it's going to be that much harder to hold onto the site. Drone once again gets invested in. They have been spotted here. Rambo both down on health, but does not matter. Vado has been locked, activated, and on point. Infernals tries to remain alive, does get 1, but makes it a 1v1. They know exactly where they are. 72 health and a dream, but the Boombot comes in clutch. Infernals clutches it once again for the squad of Texas Virtual, who now has found the 2-point lead.
Yeah, the 2 duelists, Inforus and Vado, taking turns, putting out heroic performances on round after round. And yeah, really perfect use of the boombot there from Inforus from underneath Hell. And again, surviving on such low HP. It's just highlight after highlight for this Texas team here, Cute Noob. And man, what a match to see after, you know, the blowout that we saw in match number 1, to see these 2 teams go toe to toe. Both, like I said at the beginning, something to prove, both on a bit of a loss streak in the league. They really want this bad, and you can tell that neither team is going to give up without a fight here.
Oh man, the quick rotation happening from Washington, but we have seen this before, Rambo. The quick rotation happens and they give up so much more map control on the other side, and this is exactly where Texas Virtual is looking to take advantage. The rotation already making its way over onto B, and so much utility being thrown out. It's Shredder who's able to get 1. There is a second player there, but the crossfire tries to come through. Replay goes down, and now things are starting to look oh so so grim for the side of Washington.
Purple's the only player remaining and did grab a kill on the outset there, or on their way out, but has to break this door, and now Purple wants to go for glory. I mean, you've just seen the enemy Jet do something magnificent. Now it's time for you to do the same, and Purple considering whether to go for it in this round or not. The smokes come out, but not going to expect eSports down on the right angle corner to the left. That's going to be 6 rounds in Texas. At the beginning, they were looking like they might really fall down into a pretty serious deficit on this attacking side, but they have come back with a bang. They've had a resurgence in this map.
Yeah, it started off from the get-go with the Jet, Vado being able to pop off, right? That gives that flow of energy to your squad,
Yes.
saying, yes, our duelist is feeling themselves. And that just kind of allows for your team to join that vibration, join that vibe, and be like, we can do all. And that is exactly what we are seeing here as they try to replicate that same motion over onto the A site. And this is a great call. As we can see, we have that third eye, that really big point of view. There's only one player over onto the A site, but just to make sure that things are nice and safe, we get that lockdown activated onto the site. And with the information from the KJ turret, Devin's gonna peek around, say, what are you doing, Purple? But Purple was nice and ready for that with the help of Shutter, who's right around the corner as well. The bomb gets planted, but the player advantage is in the hands of Washington, who's looking to make their own comeback. Infernos with the 2K says, not today, friend. It's not going to go your way. Bubbles holding the lockdown, saying, do we commit? Do we not? With that elimination, there might be a confirmation that yes, indeed they do. But now it's a 2v1 lockdown, trying to get invested. But the crossover, Bubbles takes some damage. It's going to be a save now because time has ticked oh so low, and unfortunately, although this was looking nice and good once upon a time, Bubbles now needs to just go for that economy damage.
Yep, Bubbly is just going in for the death, and man, that play on those flankers was good from Texas. Both players, Vado and I believe it was Devin, coming in on, or pardon me, no, the defenders, Purple and one other player, I think Schrader or Shutter, coming through all along. Cat getting into the flank right behind that lockdown area and taking out that turret. They managed to get themselves all the way to A main, but not only is Keat there, eSports is there as well, both watching that flank, playing off of each other, so even with the double swing, they both get handled. That is lovely from Texas on that post-plant positioning. Really excellent just awareness of how to defend certain areas. Vado now doesn't want to be defending anymore, though, trying to take some space, get control of mid once again.
This mid is looking oh so spicy. That was a really good guiding light, but unfortunately they couldn't capitalize on it. And we're seeing a lot of that happen for the side of Washington, which is they throw out utility, but there's no one to really capitalize on it. So it's just kind of like a little bit of wasted utility there. Of course, they do have that weapon disadvantage, and this mid is already being taken up by Vado, who's the tip of the spear. Inferno's also adding to the mix with that showstopper, is able to get one, but took so much damage from that as well. Purple onto CT is going to swing off the connection of the turret, but gets smoked off there. There is some ultimates in the back pocket, but it is a save, a low buy at that. So I don't know if the commitment is going to come through here for the side of Washington.
Yeah, they do have a 4 versus 4, and they might be able to recover. Yeah, Purple does recover one rifle. They have a couple of ultimates, like you say, so we'll see if they go for that. Looks like they might. The lockdown is going to be huge if they can put it inside the boathouse, as well as the Cosmic Divide, but Keat already starting things off. There's Replay coming through with a couple of kills. Sheriff going through, but the trades are ending up in the favor by one of Texas, as eSports puts himself up to the top of the scoreboard for Texas.
I'm just surprised that eSports stayed alive with 7 health and a dream. Like the confidence and the communication that must be going on there for Texas to say, hey, I can't peek, I'm very low. You go for the kills is just so massive, because not only do they get to continue to build the economy, they get to keep the weapon as well.
Yeah, we talked about the tactics, you know, that we were seeing at first in the first few rounds from Washington, but now it's Texas who is bringing them through, you know. Vado and Enforus coming through with some excellent individual play, Keat as well, but it's really tactics, it's playing together that has gotten them this far. You saw it in that last round, trade after trade, no individual performance needed. Everybody's working together to make sure that they are in the advantage, and they play that post plant so well. And so now, as you see the Vado coming through with the pick already onto purple, the top fragger, the deadliest player of Washington. Now the defenders are in a little bit of a difficult situation here. Some info gained though from the orb being taken, and all of them are on this site. And so here is Replay trying to get the one and done. There's one. There comes Zintax to trade, but still, that's one player already dealt with. And the sprays through the smoke, Cute Noob, get Shutter as well.
I saw the vision there for Washington, but there was a little bit of miscommunication. I think they got really scared about that lockdown. But with the full commitment that was happening already there from Replay, I think the full squad needed to really commit with that as well to make sure that they could capitalize on the Astra pull. Unfortunately, now they are in a 3v2, although they are doing a great job at zoning them out with that molly, but the aim is just so clean from Yeet. Just that timing. I feel like the timing's just a tad bit off there for Washington.
Well, it's the problem with you expending that lockdown in that situation for the retake, right? Is because the attacker lockdown gets them completely off site. The defender lockdown to retake lets them sit in wine and in A main to stay there and stay peeking that spike as it's planted. And so the lockdown is such a powerful tool, and really it just, you didn't get the value out of it that you wanted in that round for Zintax. So the 9-3 half comes through, and now we do see Texas switching over to that defensive side, and we will see if Zintax can, you know, stem the flow of attackers with that Killjoy, the way we've seen so many Killjoys do before on this map. In this case, though, once again, the first hit for the pistol round. This is Washington this time coming through, and they're dealing with, they're dealing with some paint shells and take a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because it's your Sky that's taking the most damage, and Sky can't heal themselves, so that's just terrible. A blind comes through again, nobody committing with it, just to put a little bit of fear into your opponents, and they want to go into that A site, but as we can see, that A site is jam-packed with opponents, and not just any opponents. The top two leading forces of Texas Virtual. Still dashing onto the site is going to be Purple, who gets just eliminated off the get-go. Trader, though, is able to really trade off, and the bomb is going to get planted, but they're going to have to be very careful about what they hold. Now door has been broken down. Utility coming through. Flashpoint does eliminate any utility usage here for the side of Washington as they try to remain onto the site. Devin gets one, gets two, with the help of Syntax, who does accidentally go down over onto Haven, but somehow, some way, it is Washington ends up being able to get this round.
Yeah, excellent from Washington there to grab that pistol. They much needed, and it starts off with that trade. You always say that if a trade like that, where Enforus Purple goes down, but then Enforus gets traded, will benefit the attackers, because you have those 4 players now on site. You've taken space, so you've sacrificed a player to scale up further onto the map, and in this case into that A site. And we saw it right there. Trades coming back and forth through. Even Devin coming back and getting a 2K from the door still wasn't enough to recover things for the defenders. So 9-4, the buy comes through, the save. It should be an easy round here for Washington.
You say should be here, Rambo, but they're going to be.
Should is doing a lot of work in that statement, okay?
This is a scary situation. Not only is KJ set up on point, look at that pull, that Nebula pull, the peek through from Vado, but no, Purple manages to get onto the site and remain safe for the time being, and is not done. Wants to continue to do some damage, although the swing from Emporius does eliminate Purple, and does drop a weapon that they could potentially pick up here if they play their cards right. But instead, the whole rest of Washington's squad is going to play back in boat room. And sometimes I get really nervous about this, but this seems to be a really great way for them to be able to play off each other. And hey, for the time being, it is working wonders here. Just down to Devin, who has a pistol, a dream, and is eliminated with those mollies.
Yeah, they had softened them up so much with that damage that, you know, in the end, they didn't have enough HP to use as a resource to get themselves further onto that site. Yeah, nice play by Purple. Once again, we're talking about Jet. So good at taking space, in particular on this map. I think this might be the map where Jet can make the most impact on the attacking side. And you could see it right there. Purple getting over top, getting the info, getting into sight with the kill, and then going around so that you've got multiple angles as a defender to look at if you're sitting out in that A or in that B lobby space. So, you know, Purple just doing so much work in that round, and even with the players all on site, still a strong defense. This time, Shutter is the one to start off with the kill, and this is on their bonus, Cute Noob, so it would be very, very beneficial for Washington if they could grab a round here.
Oh, and they're going to be able to pick up that weapon. This is good.
Hog tried to pick it up, and Purple snagged it.
He said, "No, not you, me."
Yeah.
Which makes sense. You know, you want to.
Purple gets a kill with it immediately, so yeah, fair enough.
This is a great position, and I like the rotation. Instead of going anywhere else, they are going to aggress over onto Tree, where Devin is forced to just give up that space, allows him to get onto the site, and this is going to be a good take, or did I say good? Yeet was hiding in a rat corner and was able to get one kill. But now that the bomb has planted and Purple has the weapon advantage here, and that space is just going to hold by. Shutter doing a little bit of investigating, trying to get a weapon for themselves as well. It is just down left to Syntax, who is trying to spray through the wall, but instead is the one getting sprayed through. Oh, I want to say that could have been a fat finger, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, might have been overkill a little bit, but definitely Purple wants to make as much use of it as possible. The round is over anyway, so what Purple needs to do now is just get out of the range of that Radianite. Looks like he will be able to do so here. There's the Blade Storm being thrown up into the sky. You know, sorry to whoever's a little farther away from the location of ascent who those knives might land on, but in any case, Purple does manage to grab that. And, you know, looking at that round, I just want to, you know, get on a soapbox for a little bit. When people complain about baiting, about a player baiting their teammates, the complaint is sometimes legitimate, but sometimes not. In this past round, Purple was absolutely baiting his teammates, but that meant he was playing off those trades. He was making sure to be there to take those retake players out of the equation, even if they got a kill for it, and just taking that out of contention for that retake. And so while Purple sure could have been said to have been baiting his teammates, it benefited his team hugely in that round.
Yeah, well,
all right,
he's not looking to. I know you made a great point. He's not looking to do it once again, though. This time, this mid control is going to come through. Syntax said, "Purple, you're not going to be baiting absolutely anyone. Instead, we're going to be the ones eliminating your team." There is that weapon disadvantage, so this gives the upper hand going over to Washington here, as they still control not only the spike for the time being, but the space as well. And for being the last standing here for Texas, has a look at the bomb, but that Nebula is going to help them rotate over onto the B site. Now, does have some satchels in the back pocket. The big question is, how are you going to split this this 2v1 at this point? You got to make sure that you're taking these 1v1s, and it's going to come down to the positioning here by Enforus and how he decides to go forth onto this site. Time being.
Very much a partial buy, but Enforus wants to go.
Oh gosh. This is scary. Ooh, avoids the flash. Peeks on through. There's a second guiding light. Is able to dodge it for time being. Knows exactly the position of one of the opponents, but has not cleared the Astra, who is just about to clear. Does indeed. Replay is the last standing here for the squad of Washington. Pushes the nades, the madness. Replay stays alive with 25 health and a dream, and now they are just 2 points away from an even matchup.
So close for eSports there. Getting that paint shell back was huge. And Replay, yeah, just a heads up play, like you said, split second instinct decision making in the moment to push past the paint shells instead of trying to run away from them, which would have led Replay to his doom. So excellent work by those two players to deal with a very winnable situation for eSports. But still, Texas are going to be satisfied with that win, Cute because that was, like you said before, a partial buy. They were totally on, you know, just a garage sale of random weapons in that round. And so now they are back to rifles. But like you said, Washington creeping closer and closer to equalizing on this attacking half. And they look very, very poised on this attacking side in particular. So we'll see if they can continue to get that momentum or if this gun round finally will be where Texas stops them.
That is the question. But oh my, they are slowing things down. Literally 2x. Or actually, what's slow? 1x? 0.5x?
0.5x?
Yeah, 0.5x. But
what
they're
it
not
felt
gonna be... they're not gonna be looking at Vado, who just decided to play this cheeky little angle. Has never played it before, and once you play one angle, you can't play it again. But this is a single angle. Bubblies said, yeah, you're going fast. I'm gonna slow things down. Is the last remaining and only has 42 health and a dream. So what could happen here is the
critically,
question, Rambo.
no spike in hand for Bubbles, right? So yeah, it's what could happen is right. I mean, Bubbles could do something absolutely stunning, but it's pretty unlikely with 42 HP and this door closed in front of him. So yeah, you know, just like you said, it was all about that angle that Vado took, which he hadn't used before. There's Devin to finish off, and you can't use it again, but using it once, there you go. I mean, hey, if you look at my competitive history, you'll see a couple of judge rounds that look a lot similar to what we just saw.
I hate judges. Like, they're my demise. I hate judges and crouching. Like, I hate people who have that down because it is so hard to counter. Like, you're never, like, they also do it like at a unexpected time. It's like, okay, they're regular, they're just standing up and all of a sudden they crouch and you're like, what? I wasn't expecting that. Anyways, back to the gameplay. The point here, how do we close this gap for Washington?
Yeah, it's been close. I mean, these attacking sides seem to have been the stronger, more comfortable side for each team. Washington gonna try to continue that trend. They do have the Hunter's Fury available to maybe clear out some players or to play on the post plant. What else do they have available? Not much with regards to ultimates, not even close. They're gonna be able to grab that, get that door closed, and actually Purple had a really good opportunity there, but Vado goes up, Purple trades it out, and Purple wants more.
It is Purple's round, makes this a 3v3. Still though, looking to hunt for some blood. The dash onto the side, Replay shuts it down, and still Purple is creating oh so much chaos for Texas. And now we're just 2 again. Now we've been here before, guys. I know. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm saying if they just go with the momentum here, Rambo. Go, just swing with it. And it's the aggression that is really paying off for this squad.
They've got to be watching out. Now we have those two ultimates that historically do interact with each other. You've got the Hunter's Fury as well as the Lockdown available on opposite sides. And so we'll see what Syntax decides to do, if they want to use it for a retake or if they want to use it for an actual defense, which is more what Syntax has been leaning towards on that Killjoy so far. But you know, these Washington players, they stay together. It's always a group of 5 moving forward, not playing any defaults, just working, slowly scaling into one particular area of the map, taking control, and then deciding where to go from there. It's worked really well for them so far. And Purple is so close, spots the shoulder, and there's the headshot. Lockdown's out of the round.
Look at the flank from the Rays. This is going to be immaculate. Actually, no, decides to give it up. Instead, it goes and rejoins the rest of the squad. Vado does manage to get one, and then there goes the help of the spray through the smoke. What is going on? Things were looking oh so bright here for Washington, but the spike has been dropped, and so many bodies as well. It is just down left to Shutter, who I think everybody knows their positioning here. Instead, though, keeps it alive for a time being. Vado swings, though, and that is the 11th point for Texas Virtual here.
These rounds are close. This game is very close, a lot closer than we often see in the regular season of Stride Esports League. That these two teams are so evenly matched on this map, and I love seeing that. But yeah, you know, talking more about the attack, they're coming through Washington with these rounds where they just clump up together and take control. They don't need all 5 of those players to take those areas. I think that if they adjust into more of a defaulty position because they're clearly happy to stay patient and play slow, if they maybe split themselves up a little bit and cover a few different angles, eliminate some options, they might be able to get a little bit more map control and give themselves a few more options themselves. But instead, decided to keep staying together. I like that they are leaving Shutter behind to lurk at A main for at least a little bit while the rest of them head over to B, but they will have to contest with Zintax, who's got all the utility down as well as the lockdown available.
Yeah, this was looking like a bait and switch, but look how composed and how patient. You talked about it. Texas Virtual is. They didn't even move. Maybe the only player that moved was Vado, but even at that, already rotating off. Flashpoint does indeed hit the hostile KJ, so the push onto the site is still being defended here by Syntax and the utility that is put down. Syntax gets through the smoke, and the bomb now is left alone as well as Bubblies, and the last remaining is Shutter, who is figuring out what was going on to A while the rest of the squad was meeting death.
Yeah, you know, now that they've left a lurker behind, they all just flood into Killjoy, and I'm talked about they had to deal with Zintax's utility and ultimate. I didn't talk about Zintax's Bulldog, which was the real problem for the attackers in that round, taking them out one after another, taking out Purple first critically, because Purple has been the one to open up options and open up the site so many rounds for Washington. This time, Purple goes down, the rest of them soon to follow, and now it's map point here for Texas. They're looking for their first win of the season.
You talked about before they did substitute a couple of players. And
That's
since
right.
you do have a little bit of insight on the previous kind of structure of the team, how do you feel they compare to their last roster?
You know, I definitely like this composition a little bit better as we see a little bit of a project towards mid. They had Luna Nova on that Reyna, and I think that they're, you know, I'm liking this look from them with the Rays instead of the Reyna coming through, so that definitely could be a factor as well. But I'm going to slow down a little bit here, Cute Noob, because they are already into A heaven.
Oh no, this is bad, or could be really great here for Washington that's trying to keep themselves alive. Vado misses a couple of shots, but the squad is there clearing things out. Washington are losing numbers left, right, and all around. The bomb still in their possession though. Is going to think about getting planted. Instead, they're going to push that resurrection, and no, Replay's going to just skedaddle out of there. Purple gets left behind, trying to make the greatest escape of them all, but it's a Jet versus Jet, and Vado is the better Jet this time.
Wow, so Purple, yeah, you know, we do see Replay getting out of there, but leaves Purple in the dust, and now Replay has a 1v3 for the map. So we'll see if this guy can do anything. Going to be a little bit aware of where these players are coming from. I'm going to reposition here, Cute Noob. Replay has one guiding light available.
Oh, this is good. I like this. If this first kill goes their way, yes, this is going to give up so much space to kind of mess around with. Like you mentioned, Guiding Light. Also, that Trailblazer is in the back pocket. Sees the tip of that weapon. Now exactly knows where Vado is. Gonna play in that smoke. Shimmy their way onto the site. And this is Replay's world. No, that Guiding Light could give away their position. Trailblazer spots out where the player is. And the time is ticking. This is it.
Yeah, they're staying in this replay. Gets the 1v3 clutch and just buys the time. Yeah, like you said, that kill onto Keat, staying in the corner there, and that's using those flashes perfectly to delay. Unbelievable from replay here, keeping them alive for one more round, and they've got a gun round coming up.
Oh, they are scratching their way. Just 3 more rounds. We've seen them close it out to 2, but it's during that moment of confidence where things start to fickle. One thing that I do like is when you talked about it before, spread out. They need to spread out. They need to bait out utility, and they need to make sure that they're trading off of one another. They're trying to do so over onto this B site, but we know how hard this B site is due to all of that utility Syntax holds. But not only that, but key to being along there and holding the hand of Syntax when things get a little rough. Lockdown, gonna get invested. And this is going to force the players to get off of the site, but the peek from Purple was a tad too early and was punished right at the get-go.
Yeah, they have that Hunter's Fury. Syntax, though, with a double kill on the Jet, staying in and going to be detained, but it doesn't matter. Replay, you did the 1v3. Can you do the 1v5?
Oh my goodness. Oh, no!
Oh,
that
man.
is such an unfortunate way to end it. Oh, we had hopes. We had dreams. We were rooting for you, Keat. I mean, I'm sorry. Not Keat.
Replay.
Thinking about
Yeah.
Keat, but replay. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. That's
You know,
insane.
I got to shout out Syntax for that last round. Ice in his veins, man, staying right in the middle of the lockdown. And right before, seconds before he is detained, it's 2 judge kills to all but secure the final round. Man, what a game. That was so exciting. And, you know, it just shows you, even though we're seeing a lot of Ascent and maybe people are getting a bit, even we at the production desk and everything are getting a little bit, oh, you know, another Ascent game, you know, show us some Lotus, show us some Split. This is what Ascent is made for. What a great map. And it just it gives you these types of games all the time.
Yeah, I'm so kind of mind bobbled at the idea that Pog, Replay, and Munch, or I should just call them Replay and Purple,
Yeah.
they were at the top of the whole leaderboard. Purple having 6 first bloods, but it kind of shows where, like you talked about before, team communication is where things are going to shine through, and you're going to win the games. Most of the squad of Texas Virtual are in the middle. They're together, and you can see that disparity that happens there for Washington, where things kind of just fumbled a little bit. I would have liked to see Bubblies or Bubbles, however you say it, because I know we've been hopping back and forth on that. We're sorry about that, by the way, but hey, I hope one way or another we said it correctly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, maybe we're supposed to add a little accent to that.
We'll ask him next time.
Yes, that would be great. I would have liked to see a little bit of a rotation of that KJ. Although, yes, we know that the home of KJ is mainly B. Texas Virtual was so great at flopping back and forth. And at some point, I'm like, when are we going to get the pattern? Because there's definitely a pattern. They kept going A, B, mid, A, B, mid. And so, like, I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't rotate a couple of the agents along. And again, my suggestion always is communication and taking the pauses. Take the time to breathe, talk to yourself, talk to your teammates, and be like, what is going on? How are we falling apart? But amazingly done by both of the duelists over on Texas Virtual. We talked about how important the role is to not only create space, but make sure that they are leading the team in the right direction. And I think both of these duelists did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, no question about that. Really creating all that space, you know, Vado and Enforus, but in particular, that ace clutch from Vado was just stunning and, you know, definitely something we're going to be looking back on in those highlight reels. So, you know, excellent match to end off the day, 9-13 here, and Texas do get themselves their first victory of the league so far. So I can't wait to see what will happen when these two teams come up against each other again, because what a dynamic we had between the two of them. That's going to do it for us, though, at the Stride Esports League. My name is Wes Rambo. I've been joined by Cute Noob, and Cute Noob, thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see you back, and hope we both get to be back and take a look at more of these teams. Before we go, though, we will take a look at at that weekly schedule just to make sure we're all reminded of what's going on. We've got League of Legends on Monday, we got chess on Tuesday, Fortnite on Wednesday, Rocket League on Thursday, and coming in on the best weekday of the week, Friday, it's Valorant, and that's where we are right now. So tune in next week for more Stride Esports League coming through. All those days will be covered. More coachings, more players, and yeah, just more esports. So once again, thank you everybody so much for joining us. We will see you soon. Make sure you subscribe to that Twitch so you don't miss us when we go live, and we'll be back next week.